It's time for math.
Hi, everybody. I'm just going to go through converting between fractions, decimals, and percents. So buckle up. Let's do this nice and fast. Test is coming up. It's got fraction math, including adding, subtracting, dividing, multiplying, exponents, bedmass, all that with fractions, and then converting between fractions, decimals, and percents. So today we're going to take a look at that second part, converting between fractions, decimals, and percents. Okay, let's dive in. Welcome to class. Don't forget to do the assigned project. Right here. Thank you. Let's do this. So, there's the assigned project, by the way. It is posted on Google Classroom. I'm just going to get the document camera up, and let's do this. Okay, as you can see, I did this already on one page here, but we'll save a tree. Save a tree. Oh no, sneak preview. Okay, pretend you didn't see that. Okay, so first things first, we're going to start with a fraction. There's a bit of a delay on the camera, just so you know. All right, there we go. So super fancy fractions, decimals, and percent. Or percentages, if you want plural. There we go, so fraction, decimals, and percent. So we're gonna start with a fraction, 5/7. And we're gonna convert that into our, let me just re-hit the camera there a bit. There we go. We're going to convert that into a decimal. So all you need to remember is that 5/7 is actually a division question. So I'm just going to grab a different piece of paper. Probably should have preset that. Here we go. Good on one side paper. And we got 5 divided by 7. Now you could plug this into a calculator if you prefer. That's totally fine. But I'm going to do long division just to review long division. So 7 doesn't fit into 5, so 0 times. And we're done. I'm just kidding. So then you put the decimal, and that now becomes 50. And 7 fitting into 50 is 7 times 7 is 49. Now there's a remainder, right? So we subtract those two, and we end up with 1 as your remainder. Now, 7 does not fit into 1. So I will need to move over a decimal place, put the 0, bring it down. That's now 10. 7 does fit into 10 one time. Subtract those two, becomes 3 is my remainder. Okay, now we're gonna keep on going a couple more places. Not too far. This is one of those fractions where it could keep going on forever. All right, so I'm just gonna go, doesn't fit into 3. So I will then bring 30. 0 comes down. You don't have to draw this every time. Let's just let you know. It does fit into 30 4 times at 28. And then take away. Let's do it one more time just for good measure. And that would become 20. 7 does fit into 20. Total of 2 times. And leaving a remainder of 6. And so on, and so on, and so on. But I'm going to stop there. Okay, so my decimal would be 0.7142. There we go. You can see the delay on the camera. So that is that. I just simply divide the top by the bottom. Numerator divided by denominator. Okay, now percentage is even easier. Converting back and forth. Once you've got the decimal, you just move it over by, well, you multiply by 100 is what you're doing. But when you're multiplying by a factor of 10, you can do that just by moving the decimal place over. So that's 1 place over. That'd be by 10. So if I was multiplying by 100, it would move 1 more place over, putting it at right there. Okay? So that means that my percentage would be 71.42%. Okay? So there you go. You've probably done this kind of thing after you've gotten a test score back. So that's relatively straightforward, turning a fraction into the others. But what about turning one of the others, decimals or percents, into a fraction? So let's try this one. It's kind of my favorite go-to for this. It's easy, but not too easy. 0.625. So I'm going to give you a second. 0.625, converting into a percentage, and here's the trick, into a fraction. Okay? So if you want to pause here, go for it. I'll just do this for a sec. Pause if you want to answer that yourself. Otherwise, we're keeping on going. Okay. Again, all I did is hop that decimal over by 2 places, and that gives me my percent, 62.5. Nice. But the other one, that's a little bit trickier. I'm gonna grab another piece of paper here. So the trick with this is you got to take your decimal number, and by the way, it could also work for numbers over 1. So if this was 1.625, that could also be a fraction, but it'll be a fraction that is improper. An improper. It's an improper fraction. So you just have to remember that. But you take all your number here, and that becomes your numerator. 625 becomes your numerator. Nice and easy. Okay? But what about that denominator? Well, that's where we need to take a look at the place values, right? The place values will inform what your denominator will be. Okay, so let's go over the place values real fast. Ready? So there's my ones place value. That's right there. And there's my tenths. And there's my hundredths. And there's my thousandths. Okay? And of course, if it kept going, it'd be 10,000ths, 100,000ths, millionths, and so on. Okay? So now that you know the farthest along digit in the farthest along place value, that place value is going to become your denominator. Okay? So your denominator will be 1,000. This, of course, is a fine fraction, but you do need to reduce.
Reduce! 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 All fractions are on sale.
So we're going to need to reduce this fraction. Now, if you do this one step at a time, you could be like, well, let's see. It's both divisible by 5, so I'm going to divide by 5. And then you see that again, you're like, oh, I can keep dividing by 5. And then divide by 5 yet again. So that's totally fine. You can do a step at a time till you get it reduced. But I'm actually realizing that I can actually pull out a factor of 125 from here. So I'm going to divide 125 and 125. It's fine to just do it a 5 at a time till you get there, though. And that means that this will reduce to be... drum roll, please. 5/8. Okay, that's it. So now I can go back and I can write that in. 5/8 is my reduced fraction. So percentage and decimals is real easy. Out of fractions into these, also pretty easy. From a decimal into a fraction can be a little bit more tricky, but it's actually not that hard. It just takes a little bit of time and then reduction. Okay? All right, so I hope this is helpful. Please do those questions that I mentioned earlier and take care of yourself. And if you have any questions, ask in either live chat or in Google Classroom or in comments or email. You know how to get a hold of me. Please do those questions and submit, and I will see you soon. Take care, everybody. Cheers.